Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Another double upload day for you guys in case you missed the news about Clan Wars hopefully coming in the next update. The Supercell kind of confirmed they were working on. Check out that video I uploaded this morning. For now, we are joined here by Rizwan, a co-leader over in Pak Esports, a Pakistani group, a Pakistani pro. I think this might be my first Pakistani pro on the channel. I'm not 100% sure. This is the deck we're going to be covering. It's amazing. It's a total meta counter deck with Giant Skeleton, Princess NATO. That combination is so lethal right now in the game. And then you have Cannon Cart and the 3 Goblins. So it's a really, really cool deck. I also, before we talk about this deck and get into the replays, I wanted to give a big shout out to Kashan, who you can see on the screen right now. This is Rizwan's little brother, and he was born prematurely with epilepsy and weak muscles. So we're not even sure if he'll be able to walk, but he likes to laugh a lot and seems to be very charismatic and have a great personality. So if you're watching, Kashan, shout out to you, my friend, and keep up the good work and keep smiling, buddy. So today we are watching the first replay here. I made sure that Rizwan was able to share the most difficult matchups and a nice variety of matchups so you can get a feel for how to handle any different popular meta deck using this deck. So the idea with this deck, just like normal bait, is you want to use that Goblin Barrel and punish when the opponent doesn't have login cycle, and you want to protect your princess. So those are like the same fundamental values that you still have in a bait deck that carry over to this kind of off-meta Giant Skeleton bait deck. The beautiful thing about Giant Skeleton is that oftentimes, there's 2 types of opponent reactions to Giant Skeleton. Either they under-defend, which was the case right now, where we hit opposite lane on this Lava Loon, and we're going to activate King Tower, but this is a dangerous move too. We need to make sure we put a Princess down as well, because we're going to need all the help we can get against this balloon. Be careful when you activate your King Tower. But what you want to do is, some types of opponents, as I was saying, they will under-defend your Giant Skeleton. And there's another group of opponents out there who will over-defend your Giant Skeleton, and that's the best case scenario. The thing with Giant Skeleton that's so amazing about the card, which makes it very underrated in the opinion of yours truly, is the Giant Skeleton kills all the support troops after he dies, right? I mean, obviously, yeah, that's not new, Ash, you know, that's old news. But the beautiful thing about it is Giant Skeleton is so unique in the game, and he holds tremendous value at only 6 elixir. I do truly think that Giant Skeleton might be the most underrated card in the entire game. And this kind of 20-win replays, of course, the 20-win challenge is over and done now. I hope you guys did well. I think only, what, 6,500 people in the world actually got the 20 wins. And this was one of the decks. And Giant Skeleton, coincidentally, actually had a lot of decks get 20 wins, which is really awesome, and this is Rizwan's deck. Now, even though we're showing these replays from the 20-win challenge, this deck still works just fine on ladder. In fact, it works great on ladder. Even if your Giant Skeleton is a little bit under-leveled, you can still use him effectively because his Giant Bomb just does so much damage. You don't really have to worry about it. It's still going to do plenty of damage to kill all the supporting troops. So now we're just going full throttle, pedal to the metal here against Johnny D here from Sandstorm USA 2. And, you know, the Cannon Cart's one card that we haven't really spoken about so far in this deck. How are we using Cannon Cart? Well, Rizwan said, when I talked to him, he provided me with a nice, you know, I think like a bullet point list of tips for this deck. And one thing that he said is he loves to use the Cannon Cart as a surprise factor, and usually as kind of a bridge spam type card. So you'll notice that sometimes he plays the Cannon Cart behind the King Tower, but more often he plays it as spam on the bridge. Same thing goes coincidentally with the Giant Skeleton, okay? He's going to be using the Giant Skeleton mostly to pressure at the bridge, or at least, you know, closer to the Princess Tower. Rarely, if ever, is he going to be starting a big kind of beatdown push with the Giant Skeleton as you would normally a Giant deck. So just something to keep in mind there. So here in this matchup here against the Hog deck, he chooses to activate that King Tower really early. Obviously, that's going to be a key component to this deck. Tornado is probably the most powerful spell in the game right now. A lot of people really hate Tornado. A lot of people really love Tornado. Where do you guys kind of fall in the mix there? Me personally, I agree that it's one of the strongest cards in the game. I also think it's one of the most unique and cool cards in the game. So I'm not sure I would want it nerfed too much, even though I know a lot of people, judging by the comments recently, would disagree with me there. So here we go. Cannon cart used, boom, right at the bridge there. And another trick that Rizwan does with the cannon cart quite often in this deck is he waits for the opponent to burn their log. Oftentimes, cannon cart is a sneaky log bait card. Just like you saw right now on the screen, oftentimes the opponent will go ahead and use a log to push that cannon cart back. It's so fast moving that sometimes just quick reaction is, okay, I have log, I'll use it. That's great for this deck because we have Spear Goblins, we have Goblin Gang, and we have Goblin Barrel, right? We're ready there with that bait potential, and not to mention the Princess. So here we're going to have a nice NATO there and a nice Spear Goblins. It's going to prevent all damage from that Hog Rider and the Mega Minion in the left lane, and we'll get a little bit of chip damage from that one surviving Spear Goblin, a really little bit in the left lane there, taking it down to 1474. So here we go again. You can see we have the Elixir advantage here. We're going to play an aggressive Goblin Gang at the bridge. Again, knowing he has login cycle, Rizwan right now is trying to feel out the opponent. Can I get him to commit to a really bad defensive log with a Goblin Gang at the bridge like that? No, it didn't work that time, but that's what you want to try to do with this deck. Instead, we bait out that log with the solo Goblin Barrel. Now we bait out the Fireball with the Cannon Cart in the right. So now we're really poised to do something special here on offense in the left lane. We play the Giant Skeleton partially to protect that Princess, make sure that she has some sort of tankage available for her, and then we cycle to another Princess. So 2 Princesses on the board here. Things are looking really good. Here comes the Goblin Barrel. That's going to get that log out of the opponent's hand, and once the log is out, we're going to hit this bridge hard with the spam. There's the Cannon Cart, there's the Spear Goblins, we have 2 Princesses still alive here, and then cycle immediately back to another Giant Skeleton in the left lane. Now here comes the Hog in the right lane, but we already have the King Tower activated. We're going to go ahead and NATO log that. Did you see that log? It pushed the Hog back. It went into the opponent's side of the arena, and then got some damage on those tombstones that he's playing a Skeleton Ash that the opponent dropped, not the skeleton dropped. So many skeletons in this deck. I don't know what's going on, guys. All right, so here we're trying to get some log, trying to see if the opponent drops the log. They don't, so we're going to just go ahead and get tons of value with that Cannon Cart. Cannon Cart is locked onto the tower there. Cannon Cart is such an annoying card. We evade that log on defense on the right side. Our tower's down to 791. All we really need is a couple logs or a good Goblin Barrel. There's the Goblin Barrel. 30 HP left on the tower. 1 log will finish it off, and boom. Shakalaka. Man, I'm dating myself, guys. I tell you. Boom shakalaka. Okay. All right, whatever, dude. Let's go into the next matchup and forget that ever happened, guys. All right, so here we are against a kind of bridge spammy hut deck. It's like a hut control deck. It was pretty late in the challenge too, so you can suffice it to say that these opponents are pretty skilled. You know, they're pretty good. So here comes Spear Goblins dropped at the bridge by the opponent. We're on the bottom again this time, just reminding you guys. And the opponent's going to start out with the Dark Prince in the back. So we're going to go ahead and respond with a Cannon Cart. Of course, at this point, we don't know exactly what spells they have, but it's safe to say they probably could or do have a poison, given that they have a Goblin Hut. Usually the two are seen kind of paired together, right? So here we go. It's going to be a Mega Minion, a Skill Horde, a Minion Horde. Wow, man, I'm off my game today. All right, so here we go, loading with the Princess in the right lane, and you can see already here that one thing that Rizwan did specify in that bullet list of points about this deck is you want to be very, very cautious and careful in overcommitting in single elixir time. So let's talk a little bit about single elixir versus double elixir when playing this deck. In single elixir, you're not going to be, executing those mammoth bridge spam pushes that we saw from Rizwan in the previous match. Remember when he was playing the Cannon Cart, the Giant Skeleton, the Spear Goblins, the Goblin Gang, the Goblin Barrel, the Princess, everything at the bridge there. You're not necessarily going to be doing that in single elixir time. A big mistake in this deck, a common mistake in this deck, is being too aggressive in single elixir time. Take your damage where you can get it, and with the one exception I should mention being going against another pump deck. So against a pump deck, we don't have a big spell in this deck, so that would be the exception to the rule, where you can aggressively bridge spam with, say, a Cannon Cart, Goblin Gang, whatever, Giant Skeleton, because we do have to punish against the opponent when they have an elixir pump without that big spell in our deck. But other than that, we're not going to be spamming at the bridge with this deck. Now, the goal with this deck is, the low-key defensive goal with this deck is to get as many princesses on the arena as you can, especially in double elixir. If your opponent doesn't have log, you're going to be in a great situation to do that. Protect those princesses, and then really lean heavily on that giant skeleton. After this matchup, I think the next replay is going to be Expo, and I want you guys to pay special attention to just how formidable the giant skeleton's bomb can be against Expo decks. It just absolutely shuts them down, and arguably Expo is the best kind of high skill cap deck right now in the entire meta. I think there was the most Expo decks 120 win challenges out of any deck in the game. So that says something, right? So here we go. A cannon, predictive goblin gang, excuse me, and a cannon cart kind of stops that goblin barrel on the left side for the opponent or for us. And then we have 3 princesses. What did I just say, guys? Get as many princesses as you can in the arena. And Rizwan doing just that. He could actually get a 4th princess if there was only 1 second left on the clock. But again, you know, this goes to show you, hopefully, through these replays, no matter what deck you're going against, even if it's a traditional bait deck, you do have the upper hand here, and part of that is leaning on that giant skeleton for defensive value. Now, what about a 3 Musketeer matchup? I don't have any of those replays to show you guys, but it's a beautiful matchup for us. We have Princess, which is great. We have Log, which is great. We have the giant skeleton, which is amazing, right? So between those 3 cards, Log, Princess, and giant skeleton, we should be able to easily stop any 3 Musketeer push. Just use the giant skeleton in the lane with the most commitment from the opponent. Usually the 2 Musketeer lane. Sometimes you can place the princess in the 2 Musketeer lane and then go ahead and place the giant skeleton in the 1 Musketeer lane if you know they have like bandit, minion horde, or something like that they're going to combo with the solo Musketeer. So okay, here we go, guys. Look at it. Look at this. Look at this right now. Look at this. Left lane, cannon cart, shut down that Expo, baby. That was easy. Cannon cart versus Expo. Cannon cart is anti-siege, baby, even though it's, I don't know, kind of sort of siege. You know, by the traditional sense, a cannon on wheels is a siege weapon, I guess, in medieval times, right? Anyway, I digress. Back to the match here, Ash. Stop it with his siege crap. All right, so he's forced to use, excuse me, the opponent, a fireball on the princess here, and we get this giant skeleton beautifully kited all the way back home in the other lane. So we're gonna go ahead and drop that cannon cart to tank for it. Now the opponent is in a tricky situation right now. He knows if he drops those guards and the ice wizard and the mega minion, it's all gonna die to the giant skeleton's giant bomb. So he doesn't drop anything. Instead, that cannon cart gets a lot of damage on that right tower. That just shows you, kind of illustrates the awkward positions defensively you can put your opponent in when you're playing giant skeleton in this deck. So here we go again, a couple goblins going into the right lane. Now remember, the opponent does have his king tower activated, so we have to be careful of that, and it's going to be tricky to get a lot of damage with our goblin barrel knowing that. However, we're still looking beautiful right now because of that cannon cart situation that we used. So here comes the goblin barrel. It's not going to get a lot of damage, but it's chipping away slowly but surely, and then here comes the log. We get some log value there too. Now the opponent decides to drop their next Expo. We're going to have a giant skeleton ready for him, and the beautiful thing about the giant skeleton is he doesn't have to kill the Expo. He doesn't. He's going to kill not only the Expo, but any supporting troop dropped there. Look at this right here. Boom! With the giant bomb, right? Giant skeleton and cannon cart both do a number on any Expo deck. Same thing goes with a mortar deck. It's going to be a beautiful, easy matchup for you guys. So we have the right tower already down to 389. All we have to really do at this point is chip away on the right. The opponent's not even going to defend against his spear goblins. That means 1 log will finish it off with only 39 HP left on the right tower. That's basically going to be GG, guys. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, huge shout out to Rizwan for providing these replays and sharing this deck. I love sharing kind of semi-off meta decks that actually work with you guys. If you're a fan of NATO Synergy or Giant Skeleton, give this deck a shot, see how it does for you. If you want to go ahead and check out Rizwan's stats, check out the link below on his Stats Royale player page, and make sure you check out all the top leading decks from CRL if you kind of want to look back and see what did have success and what didn't. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Huge shout out to Brent Chung, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below. Guys, thank you, and as always, take care, guys.